Hey, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a tier list of all of the echoes in The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, the most recent game. I'm sure if you're watching this, you have at least played this game, but this will contain spoilers for most of the game. So if you care about that, then I would suggest clicking away. But anyways, let's start. I'll go just in order that they are here, which is the order that they're sorted in-game. And yeah, we got S to F. Start with the first one you get, the table. This is a very basic one. It gives you a half step level height in a 1x1 area. There's one or two others that do that. It is somewhat unique in its shape actually, because it's just the rock that's the same as it and maybe the fish. But it's the first one you get. It's pretty useful at the start. But a certain one right next to it is pretty much just objectively better. But you know, I'll put it in C. It's fine. Alright, next we have the basic bed. I believe that's what it's called. You get it pretty much right after this one, the same intro section. But it's just better. It is a 2x1 area. I believe its cost is 2. Or no, its cost is 1. Okay, it's pretty good then. And the time you get it, I would even argue puts it in A. Alright, next we have the Gerudo bed, I think. One thing about beds is they do heal you if you sleep on them. And they get better as they go. So the Gerudo bed is just not really good. Because it heals more than this, sure. But you get it like soon before getting this, like 1 or 2 dungeons away from getting the next bed, which is a lot better. So I gotta put it in B, because it's more expensive, so you can't use it to bridge like you can with this one, really. And like, I didn't even figure out you could heal with beds, even though it's pretty obvious, until I got this one. Which, speaking of this one, instant S tier. This is Zelda's bed. You get it in Zelda's room after you beat the first 2 dungeons, and it heals you 2 hearts at a time. It's very good. It's the best way to heal throughout the whole game. It's an S tier. And next we got the shrub. This might be the first F tier. Actually, okay, I gotta think about this more. So you get the shrub really early on. It's 2 tiles tall, so it's the tallest you get. So it is useful for staircasing at the start, but it gets outclassed pretty fast. In the trailers, they use it a lot to light on fire, but early on you get a fire enemy, which can light anything on fire, so I'm gonna do F tier. I've never used this, legitimately. Alright, next we have the crate. This you get, again, really early on. It is the same cost, I believe, as the table. Is 1. But it's just 1 taller than the table. It has the same properties. I'm just gonna put it next to the table. I'll put it above the table, I guess. Next we have all 3 different types of pots. I've never had a reason to place any of these types of pots. So I'm thinking D or F. You know what? The shrub deserves D tier. Because it has some uses. The pots have none. What is the point of pots? All of them. There's 3 types. Like when you find them, you break them, but why would you place these? To throw them at enemies? The rock is better. I don't know. But anyways, next we have the boulder. It's pretty basic, it's the size of a crate, it's used in some puzzles and stuff. I'll put it even above the crate, or below the crate, because you don't use it as much, but it's used in some puzzles and stuff. Right, next we have the rock. This is your first thing that's sort of taught as a combat item before you even get any enemies. It's pretty useful at the start. It can one-shot like 3 of the basic enemies, and it's your first combat thing, so I'm gonna put it low A. Actually, no, high B, because it's somewhat useful at the start, but then it gets outclassed. Alright, next we have the big rock square. It's 2x2. It costs 4, so you can only place 1 of them. And because of that, I'm actually going to put it and C, low C too, because it's used in the lava areas. You know what? I'll put it high C because it's used in the, or no, low C. I'm flip-flopping because it's used in the lava areas to go in lava geysers, and I think it's the only thing that can do it, or at least the only thing that's good at it. So it's used in some puzzles. I'll even put it up here with the rock, the way in. So yeah, there we go. Alright, next is ice. It's used in some puzzles, I guess. But besides that, it's just kind of a cube. And you get it pretty late on. So I'm gonna put it... I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna put a high D tier. I don't know if I've ever placed this, actually. But it is, as an item, it can be used in puzzles if you want. Alright, next is the snowball. This is an interesting one, because it's really cool to place. It's, like, big. And you can use it in a lot of puzzles. It's one of those things that's kind of useful, because it just rolls forward. It can hit switches and stuff. It can hit enemies. It's used in a few quests. I'm gonna do low B tier. Next is a sign. This is where we can get into out of intended stuff, which there'll be a bit of later, but the sign isn't very useful. You can place it, it'll give you some tips, some funny dialogue and stuff. That would be a high D tier for me. But something that adds to it is that it is used in the biggest glitch in the game, pause storage, which lets you do all kinds of stuff, but mainly wrong warping, very useful in speedruns. So I'm gonna put it in low S tier. It's not useful in normal gameplay, but in my gameplay, where I like to mess around with glitches, even if I'm not very good at doing them, it has been a lot of fun. So yeah, there we go. Alright, next we have the 5 sort of like lure or food items. I'll actually start with a carrot. The carrot lures your horse to you, and the horse is somewhat useful, especially early game, for getting around fast. So I'm gonna do low A tier. Actually, now that I think about it, you only get your horse after mid-game, the 4th dungeon. So I'm gonna bring that down, because it's actually not very useful there. Alright, next we have the different lure foods. These each lure different types of enemies, and this one's used in a quest, and cats like it. So I'm gonna put this one C tier, and the rest of them I'm gonna put in D tier. I've never used these. High D tier, because I'm pretty sure they would be useful if I did, but I just haven't. And this one actually only ghost enemies, and there's very few ghost enemies. So I'm gonna put it in F tier. Actually no, low D tier. Next is water. This is an X tier. X tier. This is an S tier, high S tier. You get it early on. I got it in my 2nd dungeon, because I did that dungeon first, before Gerudo. But it just lets you climb areas fast, it lets you bridge between areas fast, and you don't really need to focus on placing it, because it just, one connects to the other. Gravity doesn't affect them, it just has to be connected to land. So it is very useful. Alright, next to the 4 statues. These are each only used in one dungeon, for one puzzle and in the boss fight. So they are used, but there's no reason to place them besides that. So I'm gonna put them in D tier. Before the ice block. Actually, you know what? No, they go down because there's 4 of them. They clog up your area. There's no reason to place them after the dungeon. So yeah. Next is the ball. You use this at the end of the game to open up the final dungeon, final area, and you only get it then, and it's only used then. It's an interesting puzzle, but this isn't like integral to the puzzle. They could just be switches that you go to, but like it's not completely not used like the pots. So I'm gonna put it below the statues. Alright, next is trampoline. This, you get it very early. It's a solid movement option, just like the bed. So I'll put it in A tier with the bed. Alright, now wind. There are very few ways to make wind in the game, and this is the best one. It's very useful for pushing enemies into holes and blowing sand. So for that, I'm gonna put it in top of B tier. Actually, no, below Carrot, because the horse is probably generally more useful. Alright, next, best item in the game, instantly. The floating tile. This is basically, you place it, it will rise up from the ground, and then move forward a bit, and then stop, and then break. And it moves forward a lot, and you can place 2 at a time. So, the obvious thing is it lets you move somewhat fast. It's not the best for that, but it is a movement option. But then, you realize you can just cross almost any gap with this, to a certain length. But then, you realize that if you time it right, you can go infinitely long. Because once it stops, you can place another one and hop on once you have enough energy. And then, you realize that why not just place one and then immediately place another and then immediately place another? Because then you can just climb up a staircase in like a stationary spot almost. And since it goes up a full tile, you can climb the staircase as if it's like a crate height staircase, but you don't need the jump badge that makes your jump height the height of a crate. So it's just really good, and you can hit switches with it and stuff, so it's my favorite. Next is clouds. These are basically beds that can float. S tier. Alright, next we got the roly-poly log with spikes. This thing's in one area of the game. It's a cool physics object. It doesn't do much damage. It's not integral to any puzzles. Medium D tier. Maybe below the shrub. Alright, next we have the Beetle Hill. This is like an anthill type thing that creates these enemies. And it just like creates a ton of that. So it's pretty useful for swarming some weak enemies, but I haven't used it much. Solid C tier. Alright, next is the fireworks. These are used in a quest to get an automaton, which should probably be on this list, but they're not, unfortunate. But it just shoots like explosives upwards, which is pretty cool, but again, I don't use it much. But it's pretty cool, so top of C tier. And next is the torch, or the brazier. Is that brazier? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a torch. It makes fire. Fire's pretty useful. This is a solid way to get fire. Bottom of B tier. Alright, and we are now on to enemies, the longest section. A lot of these will be faster to rank. Some of them are really good, but not very many of them. So, yeah. First is the green Zol. It's the first enemy you get. I think maybe Keiser first. One of the first you get. It's not very good. It's solid at the start. Top of C tier. Next is the Fire Zol. Torch Zol, whatever. This is your first fire thing you get. And it's probably the best fire thing you have. Because you just place it and makes fire there. It's probably equal to the Fire Keys and Fire Slug in that way, but it's a lot cheaper. And once you get like a level up thing, it just costs 1. So I'm actually going to put this bottom of C tier, bottom of S tier. I know that's unexpected, but I truly think it is there with just how convenient it is. Next is the Hydrazole. Not very good. Better than the original one probably, but not by much. Next is the Electric Slimy Guy. Why not just call it a Chew Tube, but whatever. This is a good electric guy. There's not many electric guys in the game, so that's going to boost it up to around here. Next is the Spear Moblin, level 1. Is a basic enemy, one of the earlier ones you get. Top of B tier. This one is a bit better, but by that point you'll start getting like these guys probably, which are stronger. So I'm gonna do pretty much the same. Alright, Sword Guy, again, pretty much the same. And this guy is actually a lot better than this guy, so I'm going to put him up here. Alright, next we have the level 3 one. This is one of the best ones in the game. The Lionel, which I'll get to soon, is better, but it costs 6 when you first get it. And so you have to get to full level before you can use it. but this one costs 1 less, I believe. So you can actually place this one earlier, and you get it earlier generally unless you're really hunting for it. So I'm gonna put this in S tier, above the fire guy. Alright, this club guy, you get these guys like pretty late, and like I just use these guys. So I'm honestly gonna just put this at the bottom here. This guy, I mean he's better, but like I don't know. I'm actually putting this guy down here. Alright, next the boomerang guys are actually decent ranged things. So I'll put them both in A tier, but this one's a lot higher. And next is the Lionel. This is a really good echo. It does a ton of damage. It's pretty easy to unlock, but it takes a while to be able to actually place. And when I say easy to unlock, I mean if you know what you're doing. If you don't, it'll take a while. But once you do, he's great in the end game. So because of how long it takes for him to get started, I'll put him down here, but, you know, very good. Alright, next to the Lizalfos. These are a lot better than Moblins, in my opinion. So I'll put the basic 2 here, and this one, actually F tier. He's still one of my go-to echoes, because he jumps up and does some nice range stuff that these guys can't. But these guys, I still use more. Next is these guys. When you get this Dark Nut, he is one of the best echoes you have. And so for that, I'm actually going to do top of A tier. But he soon gets outclassed by other enemies, but that's what these guys are for. They're not as good when you get them as this guy, but I'm still going to put them in A tier. Alright, next is this guy. I don't know most of their names, if you can't tell. This one kind of walks forward. You can use him for some puzzles if you want, I guess. Bottom of C tier. This guy. This is actually very similar to this guy, but a bit better. Once you get him, he's just really good, and you use him for a while. So yeah. Next we have these ones. They're solid enemies. I've never used them. Bottom of B tier. Same with the Redead. Alright, Wizrobes. These are all solid echoes. I'll put them here. They do a good amount of damage, and they're elemental, so they can trigger weaknesses and stuff and bosses. Okay, next we have the roly-poly guys. These do some fun ricochet stuff, and you get this one pretty early, so that would put them maybe top of C tier. But if you bind or reverse bond onto them, you can go really fast. And specifically, you would just use this one because it's cheaper. So I'm going to put this one actually bottom of A tier. I don't use it that much. There's other things I like to do to go fast, like the horse or an echo coming up. But yeah, I would put this other one top of B tier maybe, or no, below these guys. Next is the snake. I hate the snake. I've never used it. Okay, fine. Can go here. Alright, next is the Gusty Bros. This thing is kind of broken. It launches other echoes, and so if you do use something like a bed, it can launch it and make you go flying, and it looks kind of glitchy, even though it's kind of intended. I don't know. And for that, solid A tier. It was fun to play with. I say solid A tier, best in A tier. It was very fun to play with. Alright, next we have some frog guys. This basic one, F tier. Just full on F tier. He's in one spot. I found him at the end of the game. He was like my second last echo. Why? I don't know. He's just a frog. But this one rains, probably using some puzzles. Like there, no there. Alright, next we have the 2 elemental slugs. This blue one is pretty annoying to get because it's in like one spot. So bottom of C tier, I guess. Top of C tier for this one. It's a solid enemy, just like this one, but it's easier to get, as in it's in more spots. Alright, the mole. The mole's used in a good amount of puzzles. I like that, but besides that, not very useful, so top of C tier. I like the puzzles. Alright, Wolfos. A solid enemy you can get pretty early, but it's still easy to miss. So I'll put him up here, I guess. Alright, the Frost or White Wolfos spawns more Wolfos. Great, solid enemy. I definitely have a bias towards putting stuff at the front or back of each tier. I wonder how that plays into my rankings, but whatever. Onto the bat. One of the first echoes you get, same as the slime, maybe a bit better because it can fly. The 3 elemental ones, top of B tier. They're good if you want to use the elements for weaknesses or stuff because they can fly around pretty fast, but they can be annoying to target and get stuff. Alright, this guy, solid echo. Sure, this one's a better version. I'll put this one bottom B tier, medium B tier. But this one is used in the first automaton quest. But I had no idea what it was because I've never used it before. And so I was like, what are you asking of me? So I tried all of my echoes. So because of that, bottom of D tier. But it's fine. Dragonfly, it's just another flying guy. I don't know. Like here. These guys are all decent flying guys if you want flying guys, all 4 of these. I'll just put them all here. Alright, Octoroks. This is the first kind of like water-based thing you can get, or something that's compatible with water. Really, so because of that, I'm gonna put them bottom B tier. And then these 2 guys are good ranged elemental enemies, which besides these guys, which you get maybe a bit later in those quests, these guys are pretty good. I'm putting them bottom of A tier, actually. Next we got the spiky guy, an early enemy, and it makes you think sort of clever about combat, because you're like, oh, I can set up traps and stuff. So I kind of like that. I'm gonna put that bottom B tier. Next is the crab. No one cares about the crab. Better than the frog. Jellyfish. A solid underwater enemy. It's got electricity, which there's not enough electricity in the game, so that's gonna make me put you right below the keys. Alright, next is the 5th. First true water enemy you get that's like good. So there. Next is this guy. He's even better. Next is the bomb. God damn it, what? Oh, I have like a macro, I guess. Okay, good, it's saved. I pressed the button on my mouse, and I guess there's an automatic macro that makes it go back. I don't know, whatever. The bomb fish is really good. Bottom of S tier. Because it's bombs. You don't have bombs until a lot later in the game. A bit later in the game. Depending on what dungeon you do first. So yeah, it's pretty good bombs. It's a bit floppy, kind of annoying, but whatever. The shark, really good underwater echo, literally the best underwater echo. So for that, top of A tier. Next is the piranha, solid underwater echo, but you don't get it until like the Farron wetlands. So that's gonna make me put it medium B, I guess. Sand piranha, you get it quite early, but it's only really useful in the sand. Low C tier. Geku Babas. These are all really good. This is actually one of my favorite echoes for just basic combat. This guy, let's just say they descend in tier, but the best in each of their tiers. I love these guys. They're good enemies. I'll even move this one up for like when you get it, it's good. P-Hat. When you get this, it is the best echo in the game. And by the end, you can place 3 of them. So it's good for mowing down easy enemies. Bottom of S tier. It's pretty good. Alright, this guy. Actually a pretty good echo. It shoots like mist that kills enemies. I don't know, it's fun, but you get it pretty late, so bottom of A tier. These guys, I never use them. They're probably fine. This guy. Very uncontrollable, but kind of fun. Bottom of B tier. Alright, next we got the Strangula and Crawltula. I'll do this one first. Solid. High S tier. It lets you crawl up any surface, including stuff you wouldn't expect. You can climb all the way up to Goron City and Death Mountain. And you can climb all the way up Hebra. Just through the fogs, you can go up through the layers. They stop you from going back down, but you can go up all the way to the top. I haven't tried to see if you can do the quest when you skip it, but you can go all the way to the top. Or at least the second top, maybe, I don't know. But it's very good. And Strangula, I don't use it much, but it's still a solid, like, puzzle-solving thing. What is this guy? Spider, he's probably fine, I don't know. Down there. The beetle by itself sucks. Why would you ever use it? The beetle mound just spawns like 10 of them. It's way better. Alright, Scorpion. You get it pretty early, it's a solid capture. I'll put it top of C tier almost. Tektites. They're pretty good. This one's actually pretty good. This one is less good, but when you get it, it's still solid. Alright, this guy. They're annoying enemies to kill, but as echoes, they are not very good. The Poe. Kinda annoying to control because it like leaves a trail behind it that's meant to kill things, and also it has a lot of health. It was annoying to get. Medium C tier. This guy, I don't know what this guy is. He shoots like lasers or something. He's probably fine. Still got 2 really good ones left. If you want, you can try and guess what they are. It's probably easy. It's 2 ones that can affect movement. But anyways, we got this one. This is actually a decent echo. You place it, it goes around, it avoids most damage, then it pops up and deals some damage, or at least like 1 guaranteed hit. The ghosts aren't used enough, but I like them. They're silly little guys. I actually got this one without getting this one, because I got them in like a different area than the area you're meant to get them first, where you get this one from boss fight. But this one is medium good, and this one is less good. Alright, this guy, solid enemy, solid echo, I mean. Alright, next we got this one. This is my favorite movement option. You place it down, you don't even need to bind it. You just hop on top, and it rides you through. I'm gonna put it near bottom of S tier. Actually, no, high S tier. Low these guys. Low S tier still, I guess. Alright, this one. If you thought this was the other one that affected movement, you were wrong. I have never used this outside of the puzzles where it's already there. It's too hard to set up, but it's pretty cool. These guys like explode or something. I don't know, they're probably fine. Alright, this one. Very annoying enemy to kill, but that makes it a pretty good echo when you place it down. Like, it knows how to talk. Alright, this one. It's a cool little guy. I've never used it much. Alright, this is your first real electricity you get, and for that, I'm actually going to put it below trampolines. Pretty cool. Alright, finally with our last 2. Which one of these do you think is the best one? It's pretty obvious. It's the Thwomp. I don't know what else to call it. Right below floating tiles. This thing, you place it down, you hop on top. If you have the jump badge, jump accessory, then you can just hop on top and it goes really high. If you let it go to its top, place another one if you have enough energy and hop on top of that one. It takes you all the way to the height limit in most places, which is where it voids you out and takes you back to the ground. So if you're trying to do some funky glitches with signs up there and you're not in the Lost Woods, that's a way to do it. Not in a speedrun because you get it later, but you know, if you want to mess around with it, it's a way to do it. And this guy shoots some lasers. If you want to just get like 1 hit on something, then sure, it's fine. Alright, I did it. I have ranked every single echo in not Tears of the Kingdom, goddammit. I have ranked every single echo in the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. So yeah, that's my tier list. There will be a link in the description if you want to check out this tier list and make your own. It's pretty fun. I would recommend the game if you haven't played it yet. I mean, you got spoiled by a few things, but not much, so I would still recommend playing it. But yeah. Well, I've actually never really looked at this website. Does this show me, like, the average of what people voted, or... Oh. Alright, let's see if people are wrong. The Rock, why is The Rock down here? The other ones down here are fair. Yeah, they're fair. Alright, up here, this guy should be higher. That guy should definitely be higher. I don't know what people are thinking. C tier. People don't want to vote high, damn. These guys should probably be higher, but you know, that's fine. That's fine. And then maybe this guy should be higher. Oh, and this guy. People don't realize how good this guy is. But yeah, I don't know. Most of these are solid. I would put most of these in S tier, but I understand what my S tier is really most people's like this tier. I guess people use this bed more than I thought. I never used this because it just felt like I just got it and then I got the other one. I guess people don't value enemies as much. And then these are fair, definitely. People put beds higher. And water. Yeah, floating tile is definitely above water for me, but I don't know, I use it more. But anyways, yeah. Okay, I gotta check out this. Oh, this is... I thought this would, like, tell me where I am on it from my ranking. No, this is, like, a whole other thing you can do. That's cool, I guess. It probably won't catch on like tier list did, but whatever, it's a cool idea. Yeah, go back to this. But yeah, if you have any video ideas for me, like tier lists you want to do, other things related to this game, other games, whatever, please join my Discord server, linked in the description, to suggest them. You can also suggest them in the comments if you want. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you next time. Bye.